What if Japan had won the Pacific War? How would the world be different today if Japan had beaten the Allies? Well, first of all, there wouldn't be an America as we know it. The United States would likely be split in two, with the East Coast perhaps aligning itself with Britain and the West Coast becoming part of the Japanese Empire. Alaska would probably be an independent state or maybe even part of Canada, and Hawaii would probably be an independent state as well. Or maybe not. It's hard to say. Australia and New Zealand would likely be completely obliterated from the face of the earth. They just wouldn't exist. Japan would likely control everything from the southern tip of Japan down to Tasmania. They might even try to invade and conquer mainland Australia. In that case, the entire continent would be utterly destroyed. The rest of the Pacific Islands would also be pretty much wiped out. Only the Philippines would remain independent, but they would have to pay tribute to Japan in the form of food. Japanese soldiers would likely go door to door to ensure everyone was giving them enough rice. China would still be communist, but they would have to team up with Japan to take over Russia. Without the United States distracting Japan in the Pacific, Russian army would have no chance against them. Japan would easily steamroll through Siberia, taking over the oil fields and natural resources before marching on Moscow and installing a puppet government in its place. Germany would likely win the war in Europe as well, conquering the entire continent and installing a puppet government in Britain. Perhaps Germany and Japan would team up to conquer North Africa and set up German-Japanese relations for the future. The only places that would really be safe would be India, which the British would hold onto for as long as possible, and of course Antarctica. We can only assume the Japanese didn't have the technology to get there yet. But what about Pearl Harbor? Would the Japanese really be able to do that if they didn't have the US to fight in the Pacific? Well, yes, actually. The Japanese military had already planned the attack on Pearl Harbor before the attack on Pearl Harbor. They were going to do it regardless. But after the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Japanese High Command realized something. The US mainland was basically undefended. All they had to do was build a few more submarines and they could easily blockade the west coast of the US, forcing them to surrender. The Japanese Navy was already planning to do this when the Soviets attacked Pearl Harbor. The Japanese Navy had orders to attack any ships that came within 300 miles of the Hawaiian chain, including battleships, transports, and even tankers. So yeah, the Japanese really could have done it.